Hello everyone, Kaoz here, and welcome to another old school RuneScape video. In the previous one, we looked at the absolute fastest training methods for every skill in the game, and oh boy, it looks like the algorithm really enjoyed that one. And today, we will take a look at some more exciting news and content coming to old school RuneScape, even before the launch of Raids 3. Now honestly, I could have made this video on Wednesday and just upload something like, okay guys, this content is coming, it's pretty nice, and that's it. But instead, I want to go a bit more into detail over the recent news, what some of these new additions could bring, and maybe even some possible problems that could arise from them. If you enjoyed this video, we have a lot of content like this on the channel, so a subscription with notifications on would be greatly appreciated. And you can join our Discord by checking the link in the description below to join our wonderful and growing community. The only disclaimer for this video is that everything will be my opinion, and if you guys would like to join in on the discussion, feel free to leave your comments below at the end of it. So, that being said, let's begin. This leadership livestream touched on 3 extremely important topics, and I will cover them in the following order. The release of a new God Wars dungeon boss called Nex, Leagues 3, and the removal of the Duel arena. A big chunk of the video will be spent on Nex and what they said about the possible rewards, because this could be huge for the game. But first of all, for the uninitiated, Nex was originally released in January of 2011 as a sort of expansion to the God Wars dungeon. And at the time, it was the strongest boss in RuneScape 2. The entire team fight was absolutely nerve-wracking, and even with a big team, killing this boss was considered a huge accomplishment. You would have to damage Nex, and after certain HP you would have to kill the bodyguards standing at the corner of the room before you could do more damage. Rinse and repeat for all bodyguards, and that's the kill. What's crazy about it is that she could even use deflect curses and even soul split through the fight, which was insane at the time. In addition, Nex dropped new best in slot armor for all 3 combat styles. It was Torva for melee, Pernix for ranged, and Virtus for magic. All of these required level 80 defense to wear, and were obviously direct upgrades to the previous best in slot armor. But I know a lot of people are not huge fans of talking about RuneScape 3 stuff, and instead of giving you every little detail about how Nex was and how it has changed, let's talk about what the addition of this boss could mean for old school RuneScape. But first, some important information. Even though they teased just this one image, JMod said that it is nowhere near ready even for a beta test, but the most hyped part about this segment is that they said that Nex could be released even before Raids 3. Which in itself sounds a little bit problematic, and here's why. Now, let's admit it, we all know several players are against the power creep out of fear of our current weapons and armor being devalued. And the fact that Raids 3 is coming soon after Nex, that is, obviously if it passes the polls, can also help us narrow down what type of rewards it would drop. Now, again, even though the JMod said that they are willing to port some content from RuneScape 2, they said that they wouldn't straight up copy the rewards. And I'm pretty sure I know how most players would react to new tier 80 power armor.
It had really strong rewards, like a range set, mage set, melee set as well. We aren't going to be offering that as it was. It offered like a boost to HP and then later Constitution and then HP again when that changed back. So we're aware that a lot of the armor was OP perhaps, or doesn't fit old school. So we're going to make those necessary changes.
So here's the thing, Raids 3 is going to offer these new items. New ranged plate body and plate legs, an amulet that is going to synergize with this armor, a new wand with an interesting attack mechanic, a new best in slot mage offhand item, a new ring that will provide no bonus but it will regenerate special attack faster, and finally 2 melee weapons, one for stab and one for crush offensive styles. So why am I saying the release of this boss and the rewards would be fairly problematic? Well, as you can see here, we have the overall best in slot gear for each combat style, taking into account the Raids 3 rewards. The most interesting thing to note is that there are still several pieces of gear that are just a little bit outdated and are yet to see an upgrade. Again, this is my very personal opinion, and you can roast me in the comments about it, but I think that the new best in slot armor as a direct upgrade from Bandos would be an incredible addition, either by itself or as an attachment to the current Bandos chestplates and tassets. I know we have seen other pieces of niche melee gear over the years, such as Justiciar and Inquisitor, but honestly, that's what they are niche gear. And I don't know about you guys, but a new plate body and plate legs as drop would be amazing to have for us to grind for. When it comes to ranged, I will address the elephant in the room, and I would say we are in desperate need for new best in slot ranged gloves. Even though Barrow's gloves are great in many situations because of their flexibility, I personally think that we are on the verge of seeing new ranged gloves in one way or another. As for magic specifically, I would say we are doing pretty good with Ancestral, the Imbued God Cape, and the new weapon and offhand that are coming. So personally, not a lot of complaints about this one, especially because the percentage bonus is already pretty healthy as it is right now, let alone in the future. But what about gear that benefits all combat styles? Well, I would say a new ammo item would be cool to have in order for it to give some extra bonuses, as the best thing to wear right now is Arata's Blessing 4. Other ring slots could potentially see some love, as the Imbued DK rings and even the Brimstone rings are a bit old at this point. And maybe people will hate me for this, but all the Zenyte jewelry, specifically the Amulet of Torture and the Tormented Bracelet, could potentially see some upgrades as well. So there's my very quick analysis as to what drops we might see coming from Nex, since I'm fairly confident they won't release anything intrusive to the Raids 3 drop table. As a player, it might seem very silly to offer, let's say, a new ranged armor coming from Nex, if Raids 3 is already going to give us a somewhat direct upgrade from Armadil. And remember, I say somewhat because the Masori armor is only going to be better than Armadil if you have the low life effect active. Man, these videos give me such anxiety because I feel like everything I say can and will be held against me. But hey, like I said, you can roast me in the comments if you like or if you don't agree with my opinion. Okay, so that was a lot of information about Nex and its potential drops in old school RuneScape. But what about the other two topics I mentioned at the beginning of the video? Well, first of all, and most importantly, Leaks 3 is coming on November 3rd, and this iteration of the game mode is called the Shattered Relics. The gist of this is that you will gather relic fragments throughout RuneScape for powerful effects, and different fragment combinations will give you even better benefits. This time around, instead of being locked to Zeah or specific regions, things such as skills and bosses will be locked, so you will have to earn progression points to unlock them, giving you more control over what you want to do in the league. However, the most important part is definitely the reward block that was released just a few days ago, and I have to say this is by far the most stacked lineup of rewards we have seen to date. We have a brand new league's outfit, a new home teleport animation which honestly looks pretty sick, new trophies, and cosmetic kits for the Abyssal Whip, the Tentacle Whip, a rune crossbow, God books, mystic robes, and last but not least for the dwarf cannon and for the standard and the elite void set. If you go on Reddit or on Twitter, you will see almost no negative comments towards any of these rewards, because this time around, Jagex went above and beyond with all of these new cosmetics. And I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm ready to ask for part-time at my current job or even quit, just to be able to get my hands on even more points, and most importantly, that new shiny Dragon Cup. So, I hope you guys are as pumped as I am about this one. And speaking about pumped, the one thing the community has been asking for years, the Duel Arena will finally be removed from the game. Now, based on the Reddit and the Twitter replies on the announcement, you can tell who is an addict to the Duel Arena and even a real-world trader, as those are the only two types of people who are sad about the Duel Arena being cancelled. If you're against the removal of the Duel Arena, make sure to let me know why in the comments below.
I think it's safe to say and to confirm that the Duel Arena will be removed in the long term, and it will be replaced with more engaging game content.
One more important piece of information is that Jagex said that they are brainstorming more ideas for gold and item sinks in the game, such as a grand exchange tax, and with that money the GE could buy an item from a player and permanently remove it from the game. But this is just a quick idea, Mod Kieran said, and again, only time will tell. As for some other quick announcements, here we have a lightning round. As you might already know, Group Ironman passed the poll, and the brigade of negative votes led by people in the PvP community didn't even make a significant change to the outcome. They also addressed what happened in the Deadman Mode tournament, they briefly touched on what their plans are for the Wilderness and Rework Revival, talked about third-party clients and HD plugins, and they also touched on what their plans are regarding botting and real-world trading, as well as punishing gold buyers even more drastically. And finally, account security was also mentioned, but honestly, it's been close to 3 years since we were promised improvements to account security, so personally I already lost all hope, and I think we are stuck with using 2001 password security for at least a few more years. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what this important livestream talked about, and of course, not to give you guys a rushed video about what was mentioned, I also sprinkled a little bit of game analysis and the possible rewards from Nex. So, I guess I'll be looking back to this video when it's released, and I'll see how close I got to the actual rewards. A massive thank you to all my channel members, specifically the legend, that is Josh B for joining the Infernal tier, and Mr. Moldybot for being part of the Nezzy tier. Another huge shout out to Chance who joined during one of my live streams, and if you guys would like to support this channel monetarily, you can click the join button below and see what cool perks you can get when pleading to this channel so I can feed my puppies. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video, where we will go over some of the most important and helpful tips for new and returning players as we near the release of Group Iron Man. Have a great week, and I'll see you then. Peace!